why am I doing this? I have answered this question before, but I thought that what I would do is create a specific video to answer those of you who repeatedly ask, HG, why are you helping us? HG, why are you doing this? HG, don't the other narcissists hate you for giving the game away? HG, why are you providing us with all of these secrets? HG, what motivates you to want to help us in this way? So in order to avoid my repeated irritation at being asked those questions and to save my fingers for better things, such as poking holes in the arguments of idiots that tell me that I'm possessed by a demon, I'm going to explain to you simply why it is that I undertake this. There are a number of reasons, and there are certain reasons which are not applicable. So pin your ears back and listen well. I don't do this for fuel. Yes, I do gain fuel from people's responses. Of course I do. Whether people praising me, the majority, or some trying to needle me because they're obsessed, because they just want some attention from HG here, it's all fuel, positive or negative. What you have to remember, though, is you're all tertiary sources, which means that the fuel isn't very potent, and it's very small in amount because it's the written word, and there's a reasonable frequency given when I read the comments, but it is nowhere near sufficient to sustain one such as I. All my fuel needs are being met through my private life, through the IPPS, through the various non-intimate secondary sources, where appropriate, intimate partner secondary sources, and a smattering of tertiary sources. I have a wide and extensive fuel matrix because of what I do and because of the way that my domestic and social arrangements exist. That's where I'm fueled, not through this. So yes, I do gain fuel through this, but it isn't paramount to me. And if I stopped tomorrow, I wouldn't miss the fuel. I don't care about the idea that other narcissists will become somewhat angry that I'm giving the game away. First of all, I just don't care. I do what I want, and I don't give a fig about the opinions of those others. However, it's important for you to understand this. The vast majority of narcissists, 99.9% of them, are lesser and mid-range. They don't know what they are, so they're not going to say to me, hey, HG, you fucker, why are you giving the game away to all of these empaths? That's a bad move, bro. They're just not going to do that because they don't know that they're narcissists. And the graters, they know, but they're not going to be spending their time reading my work or listening to my videos. So, accordingly, no narcissist is ever going to chastise me for giving the game away. And even in the extremely unlikely event that they did, I simply don't care. Why am I helping you? There are essentially two responses to this, and it's basically you piggyback on the basis of what I want to achieve. I do this because I want to. I'm not doing it for you. I've no emotional empathy for you. You just happen to benefit because of what I'm doing. And it's a win-win. And if you win as a consequence of this, jolly good. But in actual fact, there are three reasons that I undertake this. And it all appertains to what I am and serving my needs. As you know, the prime aims are sought by all narcissists, and the prime aims are control and fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. Do I get a residual benefit from this? Yes, I make some money from the consultations and revenue from YouTube and book sales, etc., material from the knowledge vault. And whilst I don't need that money because I do well enough professionally and the background that I come from, I don't see why I shouldn't charge for other materials, as I've explained elsewhere. Quality costs. So there is a residual benefit, but it's not a huge one. Do I do it for character traits? No, not for me, although of course I am always absorbing knowledge and information And there is always the opportunity to hear a different opinion about your experiences, which can be utilized for further explanation and the further glorification of my work. Fuel, I've already explained to you. And there is the issue of control. And this is the biggest reason why I do what I do. And the 3 reasons link to this concept of control. First of all, when I started to understand more about myself, I had a very high level of awareness of what I was. And when I started to engage in therapy with the good doctors, part of which was to ensure that certain familial machinations didn't impact upon me, to garner information for my grand design, and also because I'm a thoroughly interesting fellow and I wanted to learn more about myself. And I have. And it has made me more and more effective. Because that's what happens when someone such as I embraces therapy. It will never change me. What it does is it makes me more effective. And as part of that process, the good doctors had invited me to look at material that was already out there appertaining to the world of narcissism and encouraged me to have my say also. And when I had a look a number of years ago, I was appalled by the missing information, the inaccuracy, and the downright dangerous material that was provided. And I actually find all of that offensive. I find it offensive to the concept of who I am. It irritates me that there are individuals, often mid-range narcissists, that regurgitate what they read elsewhere and pass it off as their own, thinking that they are actually explaining to you how narcissism is. They're not. Of course they get some things right, of course they do, but a lot of it is missed out, a lot of it they get wrong. I understand that there are many genuine victims who want to share their experiences and want to try and help other people. That's laudable in itself, but they don't know the whole picture. They don't fully understand the mindset, and they often get things wrong in an honest way as a consequence of their emotional thinking. So when I saw all of this material, and I thought, well, that's wrong. They don't understand that. That doesn't happen. That's completely outrageous. What they're saying there is not only wrong, but dangerous. It actually threatened my sense of control, because it offended the notion of what I am as a narcissistic psychopath. And therefore, in part, that motivated me to want to change that, to ensure that you all get the right information. Basically, I wanted to assert control over the ones that are getting it wrong by getting it right. Point 1. Point 2. Your weaponization by my information, which is unrivaled and the most effective, entertains me. As I've explained, I don't owe narcissists anything. Lessers, they're epsilon semi-moron shitheads most of the time. Knuckle-draggers. Yes, the upper lesser type A, they're pretty successful, but they're so empty and superficial. They are still a moronic, even though they're intelligent. Mid-rangers, cowardly little walnut-balled, shriveled twats. Passive-aggressive crybabies. Supposed hard men, thinking some of them they're the mid-rangers who want to be king. Fuck off. The graters, I don't have such an issue with those. And of course, you would never ultimately be able to outmaneuver a greater. You just have to hunker down, weather the storm, and wait for them to get bored and move on. But most of you are involved with the various sub-schools of lesser and mid-range. And therefore, it appeals to me to weaponize all of you, to give those narcissists a hard time through the implementation of thorough no-contact regimes. I regularly advise many people. And for instance, there is a particular family in the United States who utilize my assistance with an ongoing divorce scenario and ongoing parenting issues. They have to interact with the narcissist at the bare minimum, and they utilize me to run rings around the narcissist, and it delights me in seeing how he comes back with his babyish, stamping his feet, throwing his rattle out of the pram emails. That Machiavellian manipulation of him entertains me, and that family have benefited massively from the help that I've provided. Ordinarily, of course, it has to be no contact. And even that, it delights me as a huge win for you that you have broken the shackles of that particular inept narcissist. And therefore, weaponizing you to get away from and stay away from those narcissists entertains me considerably. I am, with a worldwide reach, there are only 6 countries in the world where my work hasn't been read or listened to. That shows the extent of my reach, where my material is being utilized. And the thought of that is both edifying and entertaining. As an ultra, I know what I do, and I get off on manipulation. I know that is what I do. And manipulating on that worldwide scale, whether it's from Los Angeles to Boston, whether it's from Mexico City to Santiago, from Lisbon all the way across to Shanghai, up to Hammerfest, down to Pretoria, and everywhere in between, over in Sydney, across to Lahore. My work has been embraced and utilized, and by weaponizing all of you, it entertains me that you've given the narcissist a kicking. Finally, and I should say in relation to that, of course, that's me asserting control over them. Finally, appertaining to the issue of control, is the creation of my legacy. Although I face, of course, on a daily basis threats to my control, because even I have that hypersensitivity to it, I am always able to assert control through my refined method of narcissism, my psychopathy, and the level of my intellect and the resources available to me. And therefore, whilst there are threats to my control, they're quashed very readily, and often in benign ways, and more within the political, commercial, and military spheres that I operate within, in more malign methods. I am fully effective at the assertion of control, but there remains one thing that is the ultimate threat to my control, and that is death. I'm a long way from that, notwithstanding some of the dangerous things that I do. I will not be shuffling off this mortal coil any time soon. There are many, many years left in HG here. But, as sure as the fact that the sun always rises in the east, I will die. I do not fear that, because as a psychopath I do not experience fear. However, it is a threat to my control, and therefore it is a consideration, a concern, an irritation, if you will. Death is the greatest threat to any narcissist's control, and therefore, in order to deal with that threat, all of this is about creating a legacy, that when I have gone, my work will live on. The books, the materials, the videos, the comments, the emails, all of it will remain passed on, still accessible, so that people can continue to read and to listen and to apply. And therefore, I have cheated death. I have asserted control by avoiding that threat to my control, and the creation of my legacy enables me to live on beyond my physical demise. And that is the biggest reason why I do all of this, and in turn, it allows me to assist you, because I achieve what I want. The more of you that realise how effective my work is, the more of you that realise that this is the only work that is going to secure your freedom quickly, effectively, and safely, you will tell others, and they will tell others, and they will tell others again. I am contacted by so many people expressing their gratitude for how effective my work is, that I have brought them back from the brink of suicide, that I have saved their lives and their livelihoods, that I have got them away from so many difficult situations that they thought they could not escape from, and they go and tell others. And there are psychologists and psychiatrists and psychotherapists that refer people to their own clients, and they use my work themselves. And as this builds up into a tsunami of knowledge that is effective, my legacy is built up. Even now, I know of instances where two people have met and discussed their circumstances, and one has said, "Sounds like you've been involved with a narcissist. You should read the works of H.G. Tudor," and the other person replies, "I already am." There is much to do, and there are many, many people to reach, and this is where you, as my listeners, remain very important for the dissemination and sharing of this excellent work. I put considerable effort into providing this material to you so that you are aided and my legacy is created. And where you share it, I am appreciative of this because it of course extends my reach and furthers the creation of the legacy. So, from now on, I'm able to refer anybody who asks the question to this particular video. And now you understand why I do this. I don't do it out of the goodness of my heart. My heart is a dark and icy place. I don't do it because I care. I'm incapable of that. I don't do it because I actually want to help you for the sake of helping you. Remember, I am a narcissistic psychopath and I have no emotional empathy. I do this purely for my own aims. To assert control, chiefly amongst them, by curing the inaccuracies, by weaponizing you to defeat and frustrate the narcissist, and most of all, the creation of my legacy. Continue with me on your journey. Listen and learn and be educated. You do not have to like me, but you must listen to me, because it is my work that will assist you. Thank you for being involved in the creation of my legacy. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.